May I come in?
Please.
Good evening, ma'am. Yes, good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
Please take a seat.
Thank you, sir.
So, Oshi.
Yes, sir.
So, Oshi, what does the name mean?
Sir, as a Hindu name, it means divine, of divine origin. However, I was named after a Japanese story that my father read.
Oh.
May I?
Yeah, which one?
Sir, it goes that the Japanese sun goddess, she gifted a board game called Oshi to the Japanese emperor. The game meant to signify that influence is power and it should be exercised with caution. So that is what I'm named after.
So, are you going to
The board
follow
game.
that principle while in service?
Yes, sir, definitely, sir.
Influences power and.
Yes, sir.
So, supposing you were, appointed the ambassador of India to Maldives,
Yes, sir.
how would you, exercise influence with caution in Maldives and make them come around to our way of thinking? Be friends again.
Sir, I would hold talks and I would try to understand why the trust deficit came. India traditionally has had good links with Maldives, and if certain group feels that it is not, if India's presence in the island, has not been justified, I would try to find out why trust deficit was there. Secondly, sir, India and Maldives have some common training academies, from what I understand. Sir, I would like to invite those people, and I would try to encourage them to share with the government their views and all that India has contributed, and try to influence the government in India's favor.
Okay. Now, you see, China is supposed to be, doling out money
Yes, sir.
left and right. So, why wouldn't you, as an ambassador, India got plenty of funds. So, dole out money more than what China can, and win them over.
So, first, China has been exercising debt trap diplomacy. It does dole out funds, but they come with the conditions attached.
So that's what I'm saying. You give them unconditional funds. We've just given them how much? $450 million.
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of the exact amount.
You can offer them free medical treatment in our institutes, government-sponsored treatments. Give them more boats, more ships, everything. After all, so many people are living off,
Yes, sir.
In our own country, so many people are living on dole. Let Maldives be another one, such Indian state which,
Sir, India does not believe in exercising undue influence in internal matters of any country.
So you will follow your father's this thing of exercising influence with caution.
Yes, sir.
The Oshi name signifies that.
Yes, sir. I will try my best to do right by my name, sir.
Okay, good. What do you read books on simplified science and technology?
Yes, sir.
What is that? What do you mean by simplified science and technology?
So basically difficult concepts or emerging technologies explained in layman terms.
Okay.
Yes,
what are
sir.
those books?
So one of the books that I'm currently reading is written by Mustafa Suleimani, and it is called The Coming Wave. He was the CEO of DeepMind. He was at the front. I'm so sorry, sir. I'm unable to gather my thoughts at the moment.
Please take your time.
So he was the CEO of DeepMind, which was the startup that was at the front runner in AI and other parallel emerging technologies. So his book, The Coming Wave, it talks about AI and all the, again, parallel emerging technologies, and he uses them, he traces the history, and he uses simplified analogies to explain how it is proceeding, and he uses historical similarities to draw comparisons and to basically try to put forward to the world that as AI is progressing, we will need to come up with parallel regulations or other such provisions in place, sir. So that is one of the books I'm reading. So
you've read Stephen Hawking's History of Time. He tried to write a very, very simple book explaining everything, how the world functions, relativity, everything, for the common public, for the layman. Did you try reading that?
Sir, I remember reading that book as a very
You couldn't
young
understand
child, but
anything.
no, sir, not at the
It's
time.
meant for a layman, simple.
Yes, sir.
It's the most purchased book on simplified science and technology.
Yes, sir, I
But
do
the least
plan on
understood.
revisiting that, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You take interest in international relations, right? You just spoke about Maldives.
Yes, sir.
Suppose we talk about the same thing, your prescription for Maldives, Pakistan, right?
Yes, sir.
We talk with them, discuss with them. Is it worth it?
So we have tried talking with them and discussing with them, and so we have not completely cut off contact, even though at higher levels the conversation is at a standstill, so to say. We do not have our High Commissioner in Pakistan, neither do we have their commissioner here. Sir, India has outlined its very strict zero tolerance for terrorism policy. Until the time Pakistan is able to meet those criteria and those set by the international community, so I don't believe India should start the conversation again. We should definitely reciprocate positively, engage with them, but sir, not till the time that terrorism is taken care of.
Suppose I tell you the conversation has already started in the public domain. When Shahbaz Sharif took over,
Yes, sir.
what did he say about building relations with the neighbors? He said the Kashmir issue should be resolved, right?
Yes.
Is a priority for, right? So what was our response? And are you aware of how the messages went back and forth?
Sir, I am aware of one response, but I'm sorry. So the first response was that Article 370's abrogation and Jammu Kashmir is India's internal matter.
Let me explain. In the public domain,
Yes, sir.
they directly exchange messages, right? In the parliament, Shahbaz Sharif talks Kashmir. Prime Minister Modi responds, right, when he tells something in one word to Shahbaz Sharif.
Sir, I'm sorry, I do not.
Congratulations.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. And Shahbaz Sharif also responds. So conversation is already taking place in the public domain. Okay, I'll give you another kind of opportunity on Pakistan to develop your arguments. Let's say Indus Water Treaty. Are you familiar with the Indus Water Treaty? Yeah. So anyway, I don't want to get into Can you briefly just tell me what are the eastern rivers? Do you have any idea?
Yes, sir, there are 6 Indus tributaries.
Yeah.
Sir, Pakistan gets the water from Indus, Jhelum and Chenab, while India gets Ravi, Beas and Satluj.
Right. So something has changed about Ravi, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what changed?
So there was a dam that we had been building on Ravi River, and it was recently completed. After its completion, sir, Ravi River's flow to Pakistan has almost become negligible, sir. I've heard it has almost stopped, but sir, I'm yet to verify the exact status. So
It's good to say almost. But okay, let's look at that. Again, taking off Maldives, if we argue like that.
Yes.
So was it a right move by India when a new Prime Minister takes over in Pakistan, to welcome him with turning off the tap, right? IMF, we tell IMF that don't give aid to him unless he might divert it to pay off China, right? So we are conveying in one package all kinds of anti-Pakistan messaging, right? So was it a nice way to welcome? And the Ravi River stopping the water. What do you think of all this? Are we on the right track?
sir, I believe we are on the right track because, sir, India's policy, as I've said before, is that we will reciprocate positively, but sir, our bottom line of zero tolerance for terrorism remains. So, sir, moreover, sir, in Pakistan and in India, our relations have been fairly similar through all governments. So, sir, I doubt that there would be much change because, sir, first of all, civilian governments, even though they change, the military apparatus, which is at the heart of Pakistan's policies, has remained constant, sir, in its ideas and its outlook.
Thank you.
Oshi, good evening. Yes. So with respect to tourism.
Yes, sir.
So recently there is some incident that took place for a Spanish couple.
Yes, sir.
If you are an ambassador, so if you are asked to address or say come up with how do you assure the tourists or how do you respond to bring the good image of Indian, so how do you say, what will be your response?
Sir, I just want one clarification. I am Ambassador of India to Spain.
To any country from where we can get potential tourists. Let's say or some international media asks you the question on this. So how do you respond so that India's image doesn't get so much destroyed or it comes back to normalcy?
So first, I would begin by addressing the facts and informing the media or my interlocutor that the couple has been, a couple's safety has been ensured. They have been medically checked as well and given all the medical aid and monetary aid. Secondly, sir, 3 of the criminals have been apprehended. 4 more are being searched for and they will be caught soon. So this is what I would start with, first of all. Secondly, I would I applaud the female tourist, the victim's statements. She came out in public and said that she does not conflate what happened to her with her experience throughout India. So I would applaud her for that, and I would base the rest of my speech on that. I would explain that India has a very positive tourism ecosystem, and the people are also helpful, and incidences like these unfortunately occur, and we take them, India takes them very, very seriously. Our new laws have, in fact, our new criminal laws have further tightened the punishments in such regard, underlining how sincerely we take such incidents. And sir, I would ensure that no such incidents are further repeated by reassuring that the governments, state governments and local governments and the local law and order apparatus takes measures to rectify and ensure further such issues don't occur.
Okay. So what's your optional subject?
So PSIR, Political Science and International Relations.
So in the political science,
Yes, sir.
which political thinker you think is most relevant to Indian public policy right now?
Sir, I believe there is no better answer to that than Kautilya himself, sir. We do follow his policies internally, externally to greater extent. Our External Affairs Minister has repeatedly used Mandela's theory, and we also follow Sam, Dam, Dand, Bhed in our foreign policy regularly, sir. So, sir, I believe Kautilya.
So with which country we followed Dand?
Sir, in a manner of speaking, with Pakistan. By Dand, I do not mean outright war, as we do not start wars. But sir, Dand, as in we highlighted again terrorism issue in public domain. We ensure that economic sanctions, not sanctions, sir, economic aid to Pakistan should be transparent and clean. So, sir, I think that.
What Chanakya tells about neighbors?
Sir, according to Chanakya, our neighbors are, I do not want to use the word enemy, but sir, he refers to them as Ari, and our neighbors are our Mitra. So he refers to them as Ari Mitra. Sir, so that is what he says about them.
Okay. So you're from Maharashtra?
No, sir, I was born in Mumbai, but within weeks of my birth, my parents shifted back to Jhansi, from where my father belonged.
Okay, that's place of birth. Yes. Okay. So fine. Very recently, French government has passed abortion as a fundamental right.
Yes, sir.
So if suppose India also need to guarantee such right, where will it insert? Which part of the constitution and which articles of the constitution will get impacted?
So I think it would go under Article 21, right to life and liberty.
So isn't right to life already a fundamental right, and this can be all? Is there any necessity to particularly insert in India's case?
So we have a very robust Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act since 1971. It has been recently amended. We have robust systems in place to ensure safe access to abortion for women. However, sir, making it a constitutional guarantee would definitely signal that women and gender equality and women's right to their own body, India takes it very seriously. So I think it would be a positive step.
Okay. So providing employment,
Yes, sir.
is it government's job? Is it government's duty?
So I vaguely recollect there being a DPSP on it.
So you're a political science student.
Yes, sir.
So role of government, role of state.
Yes, sir.
So what do you think about it? Can we insert it as in the fundamental rights?
So inserting it in the fundamental rights might make it difficult for the Indian government to ensure it and do justice by it. So we can definitely insert it in DPSPs because they act as constitutional mandates to the government.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, Oshi. First, can you clarify for me where you studied your 10th and 12th and then BTech? Which city was this?
Ma'am, 10th and 12th were from Jhansi itself and BTech was from Ghaziabad.
Okay, so then you moved to from Jhansi to Ghaziabad. And did you come and stay on your own in Ghaziabad?
Yes, ma'am, on the campus hostel. Yes, ma'am.
So what was that experience like of living? So you left home and came to stay on campus. Yeah.
Ma'am, it was a very enlightening and interesting experience. Initially, I felt alone, and it took me, as it does with everyone, it took me a little bit to make friends. And without my parents, I am very close to my mother, so it was a little bit of a readjustment. But after that, ma'am, I have never felt more independent and more capable. So, ma'am, I think it was a very empowering experience.
Fantastic. So you opted, your first choice is the Foreign Service. Since when did you want to see yourself in the Foreign Service?
I think it started sometime in my college. I was very taken by late Miss Swaraj's approach to diplomacy. She brought a dash of empathy to the service, and as someone who had not really regrettably paid much attention to politics and the services prior to that, I was very intrigued. And ma'am, that followed by Dr. Jaishankar and his approach, I believe that was a deciding factor for me, the two leaders.
Okay, great. And you've written a very interesting article of bloodhounds and other beasts, right, in the Hindu in 2018. So what was this about?
Ma'am, as a child, I was bitten by my pet dog, and since I had harbored fear of dogs, so the article was about that. Ma'am, most of us love dogs, most of the people love dogs. So when you tell people that you're scared of dogs, now it is still come into the conversation. Earlier it was sort of looked down on, it was a sort of a taboo thing to say, especially among peer groups. So ma'am, in that article I had shared my experiences with that. Ma'am, I have since overcome that. Yes, ma'am.
Like dogs now.
Yes.
You wouldn't keep a pet.
Ma'am, my choice of pet is definitely cats.
Cats, yeah, I thought so. How is Jhansi doing in terms of development? Don't hear much about Jhansi in UP. I mean, we know Jhansi Ki Rani, but that's history. So what's happening in Jhansi now?
Ma'am, there are a lot of exciting new initiatives that the government is undertaking in Jhansi, and hopefully in the next decade we'll hear a lot more of it. For instance, ma'am, Bundelkhand Industrial Development Authority, it has started several industries and development of industrial areas in outskirts of Jhansi. There is a plan to set up semiconductor industry sometime in the future, food processing plants. Right now there is a small village called Garotha in the outskirts of Jhansi. There is the defense corridor is being set up there. Ma'am, right now these are all I can recall.
So, no, that's good. So you see a lot of young girls like you, are they inspired to move out and go to the foreign service or the civil services? Is there a lot of this demand or interest, shall I say, from the girls in Jhansi to see themselves outside Jhansi?
Ma'am, outside Jhansi, definitely. Most of my friends are outside Jhansi. A lot of the juniors and people that I knew from school are outside Jhansi. However, ma'am, with IFS, not a lot of interest because there are mostly with girls there is a family issue involved where a lot of families are not very supportive of girls leaving the.
But they're fine with the IAS and other services, I hope.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah?
Yes, ma'am. It is IFS that is a little.
So you're breaking the mold here. Yeah? You'll become a role model.
I hope I do, ma'am.
Thank you.
Foreign service is your
First preference.
first. So let us discuss some foreign policy issues, non-aligned movement.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about it?
So at the time, I believe it was a good idea because India was able to maintain its strategic autonomy and was able to draw benefits, for a lack of a better word, from both blocs, Western and Russian, Soviet. So meanwhile avoiding direct conflict with either of those. So sir, I believe at the time it was a good idea.
Have you heard of Nehru's statement saying when it comes to China, there can be no non-alignment? When did he say that?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of the statement, but I have heard the sentiment expressed elsewhere, sir.
Immediately after the 1962 war, people
Right,
did
sir.
ask him about it. And then he had come out with his statement.
Okay, sir.
Now,
Thank you,
in
sir.
1949, China had become independent. Or you can say that it overthrew the government which was existing, Kuomintang government, and the communists took over.
Yes,
So
sir.
there was a chance for India to give recognition. And have you heard about the similar agreement signed in 1911?
Not the 1911 one, sir.
Well, let me phrase my question slightly differently. That in 1949, we required to spend a lot of money on defense. Well, if we had not been non-aligned, then at least like America was coming to the aid of, say, Vietnam or coming to the aid of Korea, they could have actually not only helped us with our defense, but also could have ordered on the Chinese from the Tibet. Do you think it would have? They say that after the event is over, even the fool is wise. It is not the foresight of it is not the hindsight of a fool, but the foresight of a reasonable man that you should judge in event. Now today we have for the benefit of a tool. Now the event is over, you can at least pass a judgment on analyzing this particular thing. So instead of non-alignment, do you think it would have been more beneficial for us not to spend so much money on a defense and taking the help of America?
So first, America and the Western nations had chosen to align with Pakistan because of its geostrategic location. So secondly, Russia was closer in proximity than America, making it a more substantial friend and enemy had we chosen to align with America. So these are the top.
Leaning came towards Pakistan because India was biting the hand which was willing to feed it, no?
Yes, sir. Sir, I believe there were also personal biases of the leaders. For example, our first prime minister, he preferred the Soviet economic model. So he had previously been in touch with the leaders from there. So that might have been contributing.
That is the first thing you want to ward against as a diplomat. Okay, thank you.
All the best.
Friend of US is better.